Hi Ronald.
Hi Landa.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Very nice to have a chance to have this conversation. Let me know a little bit about yourself. What are you doing? What are you busy with nowadays?
Yeah, I'm the founder and chief problem solver of the Business Performance Group. We predominantly focus on business transformations and performance and group improvements about different industries, different sectors, and operate globally. We also focus very much on performance culture and creating high-performing teams, because this is to us one of the essential components to the success of any organization. And the third part is about the future of work, which is not only real estate related, but also skills, competencies related, and how the roles in the future will change and what kind of environment from a technological and physical point of view we would have to create.
Fantastic. So you're the right person to help me with the next question. If you look at the world now, right, we're all experiencing a lot of changes, and the organizations that we work in experience a lot of changes. If you look at your own organization, your own work for the last few months, what are some of the key learnings that have helped you or that have emerged from you having to deal with these changes that we're now experiencing?
That's a tough one. I mean, if I look at it from my personal point of view, I was traveling 80% of the time, being face-to-face with clients in Europe, in Asia. Now we're all stuck at home. So I think this is a challenge most people have been facing, and it's quite difficult to overcome. However, I think there's always a way. The technology nowadays allows you to still connect with people and work with them closely. It's just a very different way you have to operate in. However, if we look at it from a broader point of view, I think for a lot of industries, the disruption which my people have been thinking of and have been seeing coming now hit extremely hard. And it's really about how to reinvent yourself, how to change your offerings, how to adapt to the current situation, where we see a lot of companies are not able to do so, and they're really struggling with it, while others embracing this as an opportunity to build better relationships with their clients, to engage with their clients, and to find ways on how to connect and how to create an offering which is most relevant to them today, as well predicting on what people will need in the future. It's also, I think, the way we work is changing, obviously, and the operating model organizations are using is, I think, a critical aspect to look into as well, because that would have to change.
So what would be your idea, in your mind, some tips that you would give people on how to keep their own employees motivated, engaged, maybe even happy?
I think that it's not necessarily a new thing, working from home or working from anywhere, which would be my preference.
Yeah.
I think we all dreamed 20 years ago to sit on the beach and work with a laptop there or whatever. I think it's quite interesting how things develop. And to me, it's not necessarily an increase in productivity I see with a lot of the clients. And it depends how each individual is coping with that situation. And this is where we see a big difference between people who love it and they want to do more of that, and people who actually really struggle with it. Burnout is a quite common topic, and it has increased quite significantly. I think the home environment depends also very much. If you have your own office at home and you lock the door and your kids are downstairs and the partner is taking care of them, it's quite easy. But if you sit in a small apartment, which a lot of people and also parts of Asia do, then you have 3-4 people sitting around the dining table working from there.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of stress. And that's, I think, where also the organizations need to find ways to support. I think the leader role has changed significantly, how you connect with your employees and how to support and guide them. But also from an HR point of view, or from a company's point of view, how do you support your employees going forward? What is the roles they're going to have in the future? What is the impact of that? How do we leverage technologies? But it's also very much about the operating model, which would have to change and adapt to allow this to happen. And to me, it depends on what role you have. you can work pretty much from anywhere. However, you see, I think we all have meeting fatigue, sitting in front of a screen. Before we had different mediums. We had face-to-face meetings, we had a coffee, maybe in a cafe or something. We went for a lunch meeting. We had big small group meetings, and now everything is just through one medium, which makes things difficult. What we saw is what helps is A, to reduce the meetings to what is really necessary, and have a clear agenda and a clear purpose. B, it's about making meetings more engaging and more fun, reducing also the time we spend in a meeting, and leverage also on different solutions and technologies to make it more interactive.
Yeah.
However, if you look at the future, I would say that finally people are thinking about different ways of working than I need to sit on my desk in the office, which is great, but we need to find a way how to make it work for everyone.
Yeah.
And we also need to consider the long-term impact. It happened, yes. I mean, nobody planned for it before, but now it's here and some things will not change back to how it was. So the so-called new normal, how do we embrace it and how do we change our operating model, our ways of working, our leadership styles to make that happen.
So maybe let's look at one last point. What would you say are like the skills for the future that all of us should sort of look at that are going to help us in transitioning to whatever the new world is going to look like?
So I think that there's two parts to it. There's one about the technology and how to navigate with the new environment, and technology plays a much more important role nowadays. It's not just having a laptop, it's about how do you connect, how you interact with people in a virtual space. The other part is very much, and this is not necessarily completely new, the World Economic Forum released also quite interesting research earlier this year actually, where they saw that the collaborative competencies are becoming much more critical. With automation, with AI, with machine learning, a lot of components can be automated, which before were done manually. So the roles will be changing more and more towards ideation, creativity, collaboration, problem solving. These kind of aspects which, at least today, machines are maybe not as good at. They can provide you the data, but you need to interpret the data, you need to analyze it, and you need to identify the right actions. You need to be able to empower your organization. You need to have clear roles and responsibilities, but also people who can really react to what's happening around the world. And I think this is also, if you look at a lot of the organizations which are very top-down driven, they're struggling with. If the CEO is the only decision maker and giving direction, how much can a CEO capture and guide the organization, or should you have actually people in the organization being able to and empowered to make decisions to address the company's needs and purpose.
And ensure the sustainability basically of that whole organization. Great. Thank you so much for your time. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you very much, Ryan.